We're having a meeting in the lab. Lisa. Mona Lisa. Lisa?
Mr. Vass?
Hold on a second. Note to self.
What should it say?
Please don't antagonize other YouTubers or the audience.
Saved your note.
Is it Vass?
Yes, it is. How's it going? Oh, this video is so not a good idea. Disclaimer. All the views expressed in this video are just my opinions. So the topic of today's show comes off the back of a couple of videos I've seen where the basic idea is to select a horror film that gets a bad rap and, taking a positive approach, just focus on the good things about the film to like entice the viewer to reevaluate the film, just give it another shot. It's a nice idea. I'm sure there's many solid horror films that you or I may feel are unfairly maligned and deserving of a second look, but being the jaded horror fan that I am, I would point out that for it to be really meaningful, you must recognise that the vast majority of horror films that are trashed, it's because they suck balls, completely devoid of any merit, movies that fail on every conceivable level. The Jacob's Ladder and Flatliners remakes immediately spring to mind. House of the Dead, Creepshow 3, Jeepers Creepers 3, Halloween Resurrection. It's a pretty endless list, to be honest. They're mostly unwatchable, and picking out a handful of small positives ain't gonna change the fundamental fact that you just can't polish a turd. Now, I know there's a section of the community who can find entertainment value in any old shit that comes along. Wild Art movies, Asylum movies, bloody Jurassic zombie gay crocodiles versus three-headed flying volcano sharks. I don't know. I sometimes feel if folks were a little more discerning with the standard of horror films they are willing to accept, we all might get better horror movies. Anyway, let's not lose focus back to that series I mentioned, and the unfortunate choice to make the 2005 remake of The Fog as the subject of the first episode of A Positive Spin. Incidentally, I have never been averse to the idea of remakes, reboots, sequels, requels, what have you. I really couldn't care less. When it comes to decent horror films, I'll take them in any way, shape or form. The Fog remake, however, is absolutely atrocious and has aged very badly for a post-millennium film. The filmmakers managed to mess up every aspect, every element that made the original so brilliant. They couldn't get one damn thing right, and man, that takes skill. On the one hand, you had John Carpenter's masterful direction in the original. For the remake, oh, let's just hire a so-so film director who has absolutely no vision. The original had a fantastic eerie score and sound design and one of my favourite themes in any film. It's right there, on a platter, ready to utilise. But no, let's ditch the iconic music completely and go with a by-the-numbers score and stick some pop songs in there for the younger audiences. While we're at it, let's get a younger cast of TV actor types. Hey, it worked in the 90s. They may be bland, but they will do a serviceable job and they're pleasant to look at. Just in case, we'll distract by having a bunch of scenes where they're in their underwear for like no apparent reason. Speaking of the 90s, what's the best way to update an old horror classic? Let's give the main guy a comedy sidekick, because that's what scary movies need, a comic relief character.
Nobody care about that.
Gotta be black though, preferably a rapper or a comedian, and most importantly, annoying as hell. The original movie is a beautifully simple ghost story drenched in atmosphere and suspense. Surely they should stick with that recipe. Oh no, you kidding me? The fog needs some more romance in the plot, and we must really elaborate on the story to the point where it makes little sense and removes all of the tension and the scares. What about the effects? The original has striking practical fog and zombie ghost effects, but it's 2005, my dude. CGI is the way to go for the fog and ghost effects. Trust me, won't look hokey or cringy at all, and will absolutely hold up in the years to come.
Easy on the sarcasm, Voss.
The scariest thing about The Fog 2005 is that despite having a 3.7 on IMDb and a 3% Rotten Tomatoes score, this milquetoast horror remake actually turned a profit. 46 million box office from an 18 million budget.
So what the hell do I know, eh?
Anyway, I watched the positive spin videos with great interest, and at the end of both of them the viewer was invited to give their appraisal of The Fog 2005, and if it was critical, to back those up with reasons. It seems they were mystified as to why anyone would dislike this film, had no idea why it gets all the hate. I give my honest opinion that it's a piss poor film and give a few examples. What response I did get was basically that I was being too negative and that it was just my opinion. And to be clear, I am not a contrarian just for the sake of it, and honest to goodness, never have I ever read, heard or talked to anyone who has given a positive rating for this film. And here we have not one but two trusted horror guys singing the praises of The Fog 2005. I was frankly surprised, and even more so by the defensive responses and non-responses to my critical comments. I said nothing negative or personal about them or the video, just critiqued the movie, like I'm known to do from time to time. And sure, every movie has its fans, no matter how gash it is, but I can say, hand on heart, this film in particular is as close as any that I would contend is objectively a massive pile of
Wank.
So did I disagree with all of their positive spins on the film? Well, let's see, because I believe I was attentive and open to what they had to say, and with their endorsement ringing in my ears, I subsequently rewatched the remake Fog movie. Can't accuse me of not doing my due diligence and testing the veracity of my own claims. Strangely though, and I didn't even know this was possible, I think I liked the film even less after viewing the positive spins video. Right off the bat, we are told it is unhelpful to compare the quality of the original The Fog with the remake The Fog. A bit unfair. I kind of feel that's the film's responsibility and not mine to meet the audience's minimum expectations while offering a fresh take, right? Of course, it's next to impossible to separate them when you see a version of a scene that is done spectacularly effectively in the original and is so flat and weak in this version. So what impressed them on their viewing? They thought the main cast was fantastic. Like I said, I thought the main cast was competent. Got a bunch of iconic performers in the original, but these new ones were perfectly adequate. Never was a massive issue for me. There was mention of liking the set pieces and the town setting. The location again was never something I thought felt out of place. The set pieces though is where I would disagree. The 2005 Fog follows quite closely the plot beats of the original, but the scenes are just not memorable or impactful in my opinion. And worst of all, they are not scary or gripping. The ghosts are for the most part CGI and have no substance to them, and not just because they are literally translucent. That's probably the reason why they don't physically kill anyone in this version. Unlike the original, where they are poking out eyes and running people through with swords and skewering them with meat hooks and stabbing and grabbing and chopping right up to the final shot. I will throw one bone out here that there is one awesome kill in the remake where Dan the weatherman is set on fire. I say fire, it's CGI fire. There's too much CGI fire in the film, by the way. But anyway, he's blasted through the weather station by a fireball and it's pretty cool. It reminds me of Jerry Dandridge's death scene at the end of Fright Night. Speaking of things I liked, and just to show you that I can find positives where there are actually some, I rather liked a couple of shots where the fog looks like it's chasing after people and you see the fog's POV shot. It was a nice touch that was then promptly spoiled by the actual CGI fog, which looks god awful, believe me. That is some Scooby-Doo looking shit right there. Raggy-oo! There's something in the fog, Raggy! Scooby-Doo! But those guys, they really liked it.
But he liked it, that bullshit.
Horses for courses. The positive spin review also trumpeted the use of colour filters to emphasise the different time periods. So when we're in the present, it looks a bit like greeny, and the numerous and wholly unnecessary flashbacks, it's all a bit bluish. Not exactly a game changer, but okay. There was also praise for expanding on the story and for the ending. Honestly, I did not get the ending. The main female lead makes out with Blake, the head ghost, and then she proceeds to turn into a ghost for some reason. Didn't make a lick of sense in my opinion. And fleshing out the ghost story, in this case, it did nothing more than drag out the running time and convoluting the backstory and highlighting all these details that have you questioning how and why things are happening. Really, I could spend all day telling you everything wrong with this film, like how 150-year-old ghosts are doing modern graffiti or able to work a computer, and I would also question why they dropped so many cool aspects of the original, like the witching hour or the decision to portray Father Malone as the town drunk. And not forgetting the hilarious scene where Mrs. Corbett finds the fog in the kitchen sink. But I will spare you that for now. Suffice to say, The Fog 2005 is nothing more than a bland, tired and cynical cash grab remake. It's uninspired and uninteresting, and it plays out like a TV movie. A real lost opportunity. The film is beyond redemption. The sooner it's forgotten, the sooner we may get a proper remake that is deserving of the name The Fog. I'll finish off by saying, why not check out those positive spin vids? They are good, even if I strongly disagreed with that one. And check out the films too, see what you think. Maybe you dug the remake. Apparently that's one of the signs of the end times, that people start liking lousy horror films. I got a watch along party for the original John Carpenter's The Fog, upcoming on Video Tasty's channel next month I think. I might go a bit deeper on all this on that stream, but I'll leave it right there. Well, that's it from me, and until next time, bolt your doors, lock your windows, there's something in the fog.